What is the difference between these two objects? Probably not super apparent from the looks of it, but there is one very important technique a lot of you fail to do, and this is something we need to discuss and make sure you fix for your future projects. Before we discuss that trick, real quick, obligatory Patreon shout out. This month you're getting 2 awesome tutorials. This is probably the best month for you guys who want to learn. You'll learn how to make this cool sci-fi spaceship, every single thing from scratch, as well as the simple game asset, the entire workflow process from modeling to Unreal Engine. So if you're interested, links are in the description. Now, it's probably not super apparent. This wasn't even apparent to me for the longest time, and honestly, most people aren't going to really see a difference. But if you look at these two and really observe them, there is one fundamentally important difference, and it is the size of the bevels. So, what do I mean by that? Well, in real life, if you observe bevels, if you observe chamfers, anything like that, nothing is made equal. I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what I mean, because I guarantee you a good portion of you are doing this wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and recreate these objects. For now, I'll just go ahead and hide them. So we just used a basic cube here. Let's add in a cube. I'm going to do this really fast because the point of this tutorial is to show you not how to model. So let's make a very basic shape like this. Pull back this top edge to make it a bit more exciting, and maybe bevel this bottom area here, and just apply the rotation and scale is fine. Okay, so if I were to come in here and maybe we'll just run an inset, and with hard ops I'll just turn this into a live boolean like that. Okay, so usually you might have a cutter like this, and you might want to get some sort of trussing effect. So perhaps you'd come in and you would cut into the object kind of like this. Oops. Make something like that, make something like that, and then make something like this. Very simple. You'll probably end up with something like this. So obviously this looks really bad from the start, and usually we want to go in here and add bevels around these really sharp corners. So for example, I already have these pre-selected just for, time efficiency. You might come in here with all these edges selected on the corners and press Control B to run a bevel, give it a good amount of segments, maybe like 10 or so. Something like that. And it looks a bit better. Maybe you want it a bit more round, we could even go higher. Kind of like that. And it looks pretty good. Issue with this technique is not all bevels are that perfectly accurate. No matter what object you're looking at, there is always some sort of slight variation between the bevels. So rather than going in here and beveling every single edge the same amount, although it saves time, it's not going to look as good, especially from a more artistic eye looking at your project. So what I would recommend doing is going in here, and it will take a bit more time, it's a bit more manual and tedious, but it is going to look a lot better, and you'll notice it more over time. You want to come in here and bevel these at different increments, and what I mean is maybe come in here, give this one a pretty small bevel, this one will come in here and do a bit more maybe, this one will kind of just arbitrarily pull that one in, kind of like that, and I'm going to do the same exact process for the rest of these here. We'll do this one a bit more manually, Control B, and some of these can have the same amount because there's going to be a certain extent where it just doesn't matter, so you can even do like 2 at a time, that's fine. If you really want to be like specific with it, then you could even do all of these individually at different increments. I personally think it's a bit overkill, but at the bare minimum you want to have at least for each cut in here 2 different variations of bevel amounts. So come in here, take your time, bevel, and make it look good. I'll just finish this last one. I guess there's no need for me to really time lapse at this point. Kind of come in here, right? Get something a bit smaller, and now what we have is something that it looks similar, it really does, but we have something that's going to be a lot more physically and realistically accurate. This is something most beginners and even a lot of fairly advanced users never really notice, and it's something that over time you will develop an eye for. I'll look at objects with a similar effect and I can immediately tell which have very carefully designed bevels and which have uniform bevels all around. I can see it like a hawk. And you might not have that eye developed yet, but I promise you, this is how you should run your bevels. Different variation, different widths, but still pretty close in size. Now the same exact idea goes for a chamfer. So for example, if I come in here and I wanted to chamfer all these edges around here, I do the exact same type of thing. I would do all of these at different increments. Maybe this one would have a bigger chamfer, and you know, all of these want to be relatively the same size, but having a bit more manual variation in here is really going to make it pop a bit more. And especially if you compare two of them, like a before and after, when you have different sizes, you'll definitely be able to see it. You can even rewind to the beginning of the video and look at the ones I showed you, and maybe you can guess which one has the variation. And just like that, these all look pretty similar, but there are different size chamfers for each one. The reason this is so important is because the human eye can see patterns easily. We see patterns every day, and we're really used to things that are pretty uniform. Whenever you break that uniform feeling, subconsciously you're going to be able to see something looks a bit more natural and machined to it, and not, you know, perfectly accurate. It's more of a subconscious thing, not something you'd really stare at and see right off the bat. It's something that kind of plays in the back of your head. It's really about applying all these minor details to all your objects, all your works, and as these really small minor details build up, your visual library is going to increase, your modeling abilities are going to increase, and also your artistic eye is going to really improve. So this is how I would recommend running your bevels from now on. Really simple technique, nothing complicated. It is a bit more tedious, but it is worth the time. There is one thing I want to point out though, and every time you have a model, you want to run a little bevel at the end, something like this, just a very, very tiny bevel to pick up the highlights there. And some people might say, well, Josh, doesn't the same idea apply? Technically yes, but with bevels this small, these little holding bevels to pick up light, you're never going to see a difference. There's absolutely no way a bevel this tiny is going to be able to be picked up in terms of the size. Like if I had, 0.00 whatever, increase in bevel here compared to this one, the human eye is not going to see that. But for these more big bevels, these higher size bevels and more obvious ones, it's definitely important to vary them. That's why in my projects I always say, just drop on a bevel, a really small holding bevel to pick up the light on the edges. You're never going to see a difference. So that's the only exception because it's so small, but for the bigger ones, make sure you apply that technique. Now back to the original example, see if you can tell me which one has the uniform bevel and which one has the varied bevel. You might have to look at it for a bit. Naturally, over time, you're going to be able to see it immediately. You might not be able to see it up close. So take a second, see which one has a varying bevel. I'll give you 3 seconds to take a look. 3, 2, 1, and the correct answer is the right one has varied bevels. If you take a second to look, it should be pretty obvious. This one is uniform all around, and this one does have some different sizes, especially if we zoom in, like clearly. Let's see, this is probably the best one. Clearly these are a bit smaller than these, and some of these other ones look really close, hard to see a difference, but over time you're going to start picking up these breaks and patterns. It's going to look a lot better. So quick little video for you guys. I kind of want to start complementing modeling tutorials and just even include them with design tutorials, things that I use in my work personally, things I've picked up off of the high level artists out there, and things I just observe in real life, something that we should all do every day to improve our art. Hope the video helped. Make sure you sign up for our Patreon, by the way, guys. We have a lot of cool stuff this month, and I'll see you in a few days.